Masechta Sanhedrin, Daf Lamed Aleph Abra Aleph. We're starting from Lamed Amud Beis, 6 lines from the bottom. Amar Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda had said, Eidus hamakhes v'zu azu b'v'dikes. Eidus that contradict each other on b'dikes. B'dikes are not intrinsic, it's not the ikir part of the Eidus. B'dikes says, what color clothing was he wearing? Gold or black? The purse that she had, was it a black purse, a blue purse? It's those are the smanim, it's not smanim on the time, who the name of the people, just the clothing, yeah. So even though they were makhish, and they were talking about different colors, shada, it's kosher, you could combine the eidim, the dinim amanis when it comes to dinim amanis. So the Rabbi gesagt, Mistabra mil say, it's reasonable to say that Rabbi Yehuda, it's reasonable to say that when one aid is saying that the wallet was black and one aid was saying the wallet was white, so nevertheless we say we can combine the aidim. We're talking about dinim mamanis. One says that the money was blackened, it was old. He says no, the money was new. In such a case, aim at stuff, and we don't combine the money because that's done in the gufa edis. That's already more like the ika part of the edis. When you're talking about the money part, we're talking about how much money he owes and the kind of money. And here, one is saying it's old money, one is saying it's new money. So we cannot combine it together. But when it comes the black wallet, so he says, you're saying when it comes to contradicting what color the wallet was, so he said only by dinim amanis, even though they contradict the color of the wallet, one said black, one said white, only by dinim amanis we're going to combine it. But by dinim nefashis is mashma, by dinim nefashis is lay. We're not going to combine it. What are you talking about? Chizah said, one says that he killed the tool that he used to kill him was a sword, and one says it was a dagger. Ain't said nothing. Then the edus cannot be combined. One says that he was wearing a black suit, a black clothing, and one was saying white. He said nothing that you could combine it. Is a contradiction to what we just said from the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said the only time that if they say two different colors, we'll combine them only by dinim amanis, but by dinim nefash is not. Here we have Rav Chizda says b'feidish that even by if they testify in the wrong different colors, the two eidim are contradicting each other on the colors. We said we accept it by dinim nefashis, and the Gemara gaver kadam is. Are you then asking from one person and another? What are you asking from Rabbi Yehuda, who says that if they're contradicting themselves in colors, by din nefashis we don't combine, and Rav Chizda says you do combine. What's the problem? You can't ask from one town on another or one amid on another. Okay, each one can say his opinion. In the they said even when one says he lent him old money, black, it was blackened, and one says it was new money, it was white, mitzvafin, he says he's still combined, even though we said before that you can't. Come on, who is this Nahadoi following? Which Shita? So like Rabbi Yeshua ben Kocha. If you remember, Rabbi Yeshua ben Kocha said yesterday, if one aide said, I saw him Reuben lend Shimon $100 on Sunday. And then another aide says, I saw Reuben Shimon lend, but it's two different monies. But he says you combine it. Because it's this, the bottom line, Shimon owes $100. Then they're both saying, if it was Sunday's transaction on Monday, we combine them. Yeah. Eimah the Shmata says, that's your raya. Eimah the Shmata later, Rabbi Shimon Kocha, here they're not contradicting. They're talking about a different, each eight, they're talking about different eight, and they're talking about the same money. They're not contradicting each other. But here you have the two eight. One is saying it's white, one is saying, no, that same person that you said it was wearing white clothes, it was black. So maybe there you won't say that you'll accept the Beidim. There by Rabbi Shimon Kocha, they weren't contradicting each other, so you combine it. Here you have the same person, one is saying that same person is wearing white clothing, and one is saying white.
Anyways, but he's still giving money. So what can we say? It's black or white?
Here we're talking about, what do you mean black? No, it's clothing. The mamish contradicting on the same person's clothing. But that's them. I won't say it's combined. Before we're talking about they're not contradicting each other. That said that din is like this following Tana. Tanya, like we learned in the Brayso, on two groups of Eidim. One group says Masayim, that the schum of the Hava, the loan was 200 zuz. And one group of Eidim say Mana. So we say, is Sheyesh Bechlau Masayim Mana. There's for sure 100 in the 200. So they're both agreeing that there was 100 that he owes. So, nicht made of mix. No, but Afil Diva Zok Masayim agrees for sure 100 he owes. Or even the one that says Mana agrees that 100 he owes. He's only arguing about the second one. But the first money, everybody agrees. And what's the case that they're arguing? Al Kat Achas. In the same Eidim, there's a pair of Eidim. One of the Eidim say, one says 100, one says 200. That's a problem. We can't be Makabal this because you only have these two witnesses, and one is a sure shakran between the two Eidim. So they're disqualified. No, it's not possible. Yes, money. Yeah, one is saying 100, one is saying 200, but even the one that's saying 200, or even the one that's saying 100, everybody agrees. Okay. So Beis Hillel will say that yesh b'chal masayim mana, and we accept the edis even though they weren't masking to what the schum was. So too, when one is testifying that the $100 was black and then old, and the other one says no, it was $100 of new. The mamish, the common denominator, they both agree he owes $100. Who cares if it's old money or new money?
I take all money too.
Yeah, one eight said that he owes a barrel of wine. 1/8 says he owes a barrel of oil.
Two different things.
Right, and oil is much more expensive. How about Uvda? There was Taka such a story. Yeah, and oil's much more than wine. So I said, how there was such a story? They came before Rabami. Chavis and the Chamra. The Avami says he has to give a barrel of wine. Migoy, Chavis and the Mishcha, he says from the barrel of oil, so you deduct, in the barrel of oil you have for sure a barrel of wine.
Yeah, at least two.
You can have 2 barrels of wine to the worth of a barrel of Shem, let's say. So for sure everybody agrees he owes a barrel of wine. In fact, you want to command. Who's this following? Reb Shimon ben Elazar says that he's mechayiv that when 1/8 says it was mana, and the other says the Masayim, he said yesh b'chlal Masayim mana. So since you said,
There was $100.
so for sure there was $100. For sure there was a barrel of wine. Says you want to aim it. Reb Shimon ben Elazar hechdi yesh b'chlal Masayim mana. That's only when you have. You're talking about money. But how much money was it? 200 or 100? But you're talking about the same min. It's the same min. Money. It's money, cash. So, but when you're talking about two different minim, like you just said, one is oil and one is wine, you're going to say, because the oil is more, so for sure he owes a barrel of wine. What does that have to do with the price of cheese in China? Each one is saying a different min, b'chlal. So they didn't say wine, a barrel of wine, a barrel of oil. Like they said the worth, there was a barrel that was worth like a barrel of oil, and the other one says no, it was only a barrel worth of wine. So you're talking about the money. You weren't talking about a min of food. You were talking about the money itself, and that's why he paskin. You have to give at least a barrel of wine.
The worth of a barrel.
Well, worth of a barrel of wine. Okay, so one testifies that the halva happened on this upper floor. And the other guy says, no, the halva was on the first floor. This story came before Rabbi. And he said he was still, he combined, he was matzah of the edus. Because the ikir, that's a kosher bebdikis. If it's the colors black, blue, upstairs, downstairs, the ikal va, they both agreed that the hava will happen with $100. Reuven gave Shimon $100.
Comes the money is money.
Yeah, but the ikal is the money. That's the main aid. It's not where it happened or what color were they clothing they were wearing. In fact, you want to the Mishnah says, how do we know when they come out of Bezdin? One guy shouldn't come out and say, "Oh, I was on your side." He goes to the loser. He says, "I wanted you should win." But what could he do? These two guys, the other two, they weren't happy with you. So that's why you lost the case. So you're not allowed to do it. How do we know when the dayan comes out of Bezdin? He shouldn't say, I wanted to be mezake you. But the other two dayanim, they were the ones that made you. What should I do? I couldn't pass him like myself. My chaverim, they had the rave. The two other dayanim said against you. Talmud Lehman says the Torah, you can't say that. Why? You're not allowed to fear the chilis because you're making now the one who lost zol have makpeda on the other two dayanim. And it says yeah, but it's not nice to go out and say I was on your side. It's the other two. Says the Gemara. Yeah, and he says this guy's going out and saying rechilis. How? Because he's revealing the secrets. So there's others say just for Megala's sake, to be Megala's secret is usher on its own, even worse than Avak Lashon Hara. But the Rashi says no, this is called Lashon Hara. When you read this Alain is Lashon Hara. There was this Talmud that a Shmuel went out. The Gully Mills he was Megala to the outside street what the secrets that was said in the Beis Medrash. Not about learning something. It was after 22 years that this guy was, it was said 22 years after the story happened that was said in the Beis Medrash. And he was Mefarsim it as 22 years later. So it's Lashon Hara anyway. He's geworfen, he thought, get out of the Beis Medrash. Dain Gali Rozaya, this person was Megala Said. He was there on the east of Lashon Hara.
22 years ago.
It doesn't matter. Even though this story happened 22 years ago, it's Lashon Hara.
It's still alive.
Yeah, still alive. Zog the Mishnah. Zog the Heilige Mishnah. Kol's Mansha, maybe, as long as the Baldin brings a shtar, meaning a raya, this is called a raya achrena, that proves his chus, even though it was a lot of, it came if the Bezdin said to Reuben, you're chayiv the mummy. And Reuben didn't have rayas yet. After they paskened, he found a raya, it's called raya achrena. He found papers proving that this guy, that he paid back the money. So he says that he could retract the whole thing and say, like appeal it, yes. Right. Or the reverse, to show that he does owe the money. Okay. If the Beis Din says to him, all rayas that you have, bring it from today till 30 days. If he finds rayas, after the Psak Din, they said that, let's say, Ruvain, you're part of being Shimon. But in the middle of the 30 days, he found the Shtava that Shimon now owes Reuben the money. So then we say that we appeal the din and we make him chayiv. What's if he found his proof that Levi Shimon owes him money? It's after 30 days. President gave him up tonight. Up to 30 days.
So
you can bring so he loses his money. Shimon ben Gamliel. My Yasa says. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel argues like you just said. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. My Yasa says what should we do? He couldn't find it in the 30 days. He has to find the Lachas Shleishim. So therefore he holds Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Even if the 30 days, if he finds the rayas, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel argues with the Chachamim, and he could reappeal the din, and the guy will owe money. The halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel got it. Yeah, even though the Bezdin gave it tonight up to 30 days, you have to bring the raya, and he has found it 40 days later, he can reappeal it. So what's if this is another case? If the Bezdin said to the Baldin, bring witnesses that it's like you say. And he says, "Ein li Edom, I don't have Edom." The Bezdin said, "Okay, Hava Raya, bring a star Raya that proves like you said." Ein li Raya, I don't have proof. Achazman hevi Raya, but after a while he brings a Raya. Umatza Edom, and he found Edom. It's not going to help him at all. Since because at the beginning he said he doesn't have it. He doesn't have Raya, he doesn't have Edom. So we have to be concerned maybe he was Messiah for star now. When he said he didn't have a star, that means he didn't have. All of a sudden he found a star. A star was created from the loaf. He was Messiah the star. Or he hired the false Edom because he said he doesn't have Edom. Well, how could you accuse him? Don't accuse him that he hired false Edom. He doesn't know which Edom, which people were around. People might have seen. What should we do that Edom appeared and say, yeah, we know about it? Matzah Edom, and after this man he found Edom. So what do you want? Or the same thing with a Raya. He didn't know to begin with that he has a Raya, and Matzah Raya, then he found it. He found the Raya. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds he could still bring the Raya, even though he said the Chatchila, he doesn't have Edom, he doesn't have a Raya. But if he finds Edom come about, right, Bezin will check it out, and we have to do it. We have to go through the process. Listen to the Edom. That's according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Now comes one more halacha. If the Baldin says he doesn't have Edom or Shtar here, Rosh Hashanah Badin, and at the end they see Bezin is passing against him. He has to pay. So Omar right away he said, right after Bezin was about to pass him that he has to pay, he said, he says, you and you come testify that I paid up. Or he opens up his belt and he pulls out a document. Everybody says this is Shena false Shemaisa. Within seconds he said he doesn't have Edom, he doesn't have a Raya, and then the minute he sees Bezin is about to accuse him, this Bashaf Yivon Gleichen from the Nut. He has Edom right away from the spot, or he has a star, he pulls out from under his belt. How could you have that? If you had it, you should have shown it right away. Obviously, you didn't want to use the Edom, or you didn't want to use the star because it's a false Shemaisa. And everybody agrees, this case, we're not going to accept the star or the Edom. Well, in agreement, yes. The halach is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. In the first din, let's say, after 30 days, if you bring, you can still bring a raya, even though Bezin made it tonight. And Rabbi Huna said the halach is not like the Chachamim, that he cannot bring it after 30 days. I don't know what you're saying. So once you said the halach is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, that you can bring it after 40 days, so you automatically know the halach is not like Chachamim who say after 30 days is no good. Says, you know, there's a chiddush here. I would have thought that Rabbi Huna said the psak hani mili, that the halach is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Only lechatchila Bezdin should go his way and be mekabel raya that after 40 days. But what's if after 30 days? They passed the Bezdin passed the raya. They said they gave up psak did that he doesn't have a raya. Then shapedami. So I would say, okay, he can't now bring any more rayas. Kamash Malon, no. And Rabbi Ravuna says the halach is not like the Chacham at all. The Ovid Madrin Alei, even if the Bezdin should get paskin, they will reappeal the din, and the halach is not like the Chachamim. Amalei, in the second din of the Mishnah, we said they told him bring Edom, and he says I don't have Edom. He says bring okay, or they tell him bring a raya. He says he doesn't have a raya. And La Chazman, he has a raya, and so Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, well, use the raya, and the Chacham say not. The halach is like the words of the Chachamim, that he cannot bring a raya or Edom once he said he doesn't have it. He doesn't have a raya or Edom. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel who says that even though he says he doesn't have it, he could. You just said like the Chachamim. What did the Chachamim say? That you can't, once he said he doesn't have a raya or he doesn't have Edom, he cannot bring Edom. So it's the same idea, yeah. So what do you have to say? The halach is not like Rabbi Gamliel who said you could bring it. It's self-understood. And the Gemara keeping the halacha to the Chachamim. Once you already said the halacha like the Chachamim that he cannot now bring Eidim or Raya once he said he doesn't have it. Automatically, I know the halacha is not like Reb Shimon Gamliel. This is what he's come to teach us. He only in that machlekes ein halacha Reb Shimon Gamliel. Only in that second case of Raya Achrena, in the case where he said he doesn't have a Eidim or he doesn't have a Raya, and then he finds, only then the halach is not like Reb Shimon Gamliel. But in the first case, where Bezin made a Tanai, up to 30 days, you can bring an iftar and you can. And Reb Shimon Gamliel says you still could. The halach there is like Reb Shimon Gamliel. Only in the second case, right, he wants to bring out. Only in this case, the halach is not like him.
Not in everything.
But all the other cases of Raya Achrena, halach and Reb Shimon Gamliel. So and this is what Rabbi Yehuna b'Shem Rabbi Yechon is coming to omit. Wherever it says the halach, wherever it says we learn Rabbi Shimon Gamliel in the Mishnah, the halach is like him, right? Wherever we learn chutz, except for Orev v'Tzaidan. These are two cases. He doesn't go through the details, but we had it before. Only except for Orev and Tzaidan, that the halach is not going to be. Is the halach is like him? I'm sorry. Except Orev v'Tzaidan, Ura Oya Achrena. Ura Oya Achrena is our Mishnah. So he holds that the whole Mishnah, all cases of Raya Achrena, the halach is not like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, according to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Babachano, who said the name Rabbi Yochanan. But I'm sorry, Rabbi Rav Huna has come to tell us that no, the halacha will be like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, and only one case the halacha won't be like him. In the case where he said bring Eidim, or he said, and he said he doesn't have Eidim, or he said bring Shtarai, and he said he doesn't have the Raya. Only that case the halacha is not like him. But if the Bezin made a Tanai that you have up to 30 days to bring a Raya or Eidim, and he brings it after 40 days, the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, and he could bring it. There was this Yasin that they brought him to Bezdin to say he has to pay up his father's chayiv. Amalei, so Rav Nachman said to the child, Islach Sadi, do you have Eidim that your father paid back the chayiv? Amalei, he said, I don't. The Yasin said he doesn't. Islach Raya, he says, do you have a shtar, Raya that your father paid up? Amalei, so the child says, no. Chiver Rav Nachman made him pay. He came out of Bezdin crying, the little kid. Other people saw him crying. They said to him, don't cry, we know exactly what happened with your father, and your father did pay back. Okay? Rav Nachman said, even though Bezdin changed paskin, and the child said he doesn't have a raya, he doesn't have Eidim, and he said the child already said he doesn't have, and Bechlal the halach is like the Chacham, you can't reappeal it. Rav Nachman says, I feel abundant that you made it, that you could have, because very good. It's that child, Ayosim. He doesn't know what happened with his father, so therefore we could be Taylor, and we could say that he probably didn't know, and now people appear to help him. So there was this one woman that a shtar came from under her hand, meaning the Levi and the Malva said, you know what? Let's keep the shtar by this woman. So she said to him, I know that this shtar is paid up. Okay? I know that this shtar was paid up. And we believe her. Rav Nachman believed her. And said to Rav Nachman, Kiman, who did he paskin like? Like Rebbe, who says that if the shtar was given to the woman, the halacha is that alone makes the kinyan. She's kind of the whole avah just by receiving the shtar. If the Levi and the Malva gave her the shtar, it's more than it's Mesira. They gave over the kinyan and everything in the shtar. That's only according to Rebbe. Rebbe says it's not just a paper that she's being koina. She's being koina the whole alva when the Malvan later gave it the star. So that's why she's believed to say it was parua. So says the Gemara, but l'cheda is akasha. But according to Rebbe, so it's hers, and therefore she's believed to say it was paid. So it's akasha. The halach is not like Rebbe. How could we pass on like Rebbe? If the halach is not like Rebbe that she's koina the chayv, she's only koina a piece of paper, and here we're passing like Rebbe. Amalei, so they said Rav Nachman explained it over. Forget about it. Let's say she's not koina the chayv itself. She's only koina the paper. But shani yocha, here we're going to believe her anyway. It's different here. Why? The Ibaya Kalsi, if she wanted, she could have burned the star, and it wouldn't. And that's and machashvaik, and then the Levi doesn't owe the Malva any money. She says the Levi paid it already. So I said, believe me, So according to Rebbe, she has a for sure migo because the halva belongs to her. But even if the halach is not like Rebbe, she's not going to only the paper. She has a migo. She could have burnt it. So others say, "Lo yehemnei Rav Nachman." Rav Nachman didn't believe her that the shtar was paid up. Amalei Rav Nachman. Rav said to Rav Nachman, "Ibaya." Kal say, "What do you mean you don't believe her? She has a migo. If she wanted, she could have burnt the shtar. So you should believe the shtar is perua." So the mother that over here it's talking about keeping this chazik bevei dina. Here it's talking about it already went through Bezdin. It had a hempik. Since there was a stempel or the shem different, so it's a very powerful. Bezdin knows about it. Say by your kalsa, we don't say okay, we're going to believe her because she could have burned it. She's not believed anymore to be mafkiyah from Bezdin. Because it's already in Bezdin. Bezdin saw the get the star in the hand of the Isha before she said it was Parua. Bezdin saw it. So she doesn't have a migo that she could say, oh, I could have burnt it. Bezdin saw that he owes the money. So she's not going to, her migo won't override that. Simpain is the receipt. There are Aiden signed on the receipt. The Aiden should come and verify the signatures. And the receipt will be a kosher receipt that it's paid up. We'll believe that it was paid up. Ein alav eidim. Let's say there were no eidim signed on the receipt, but the yates mitachsidei shalish. There was a third party, meaning the Levi and the Malva. They gave it to a third person to hold it, and they appointed him to hold the star. This the receipt. Or the receipt was written in the star chayvet. It says, and now on the bottom, once he paid up the chayv, the star was paid up. It was written in the star itself. Same star, kosher. We say it's kosher. Alma sholish mehamen. And where's the star chayv? Shenifra chayv. The sheva, which is written on the star of the Malva, right? And on the Malva, which is now in a third hand, right? So you see, Shalish is Mehaman, the third person, the third party is believed to say the star is paid up to Yufta de Rav Nachman. So it's Akasha Rav Nachman. Because Rav Nachman said that she's not believed once it's verified in Bezdin, and here was verified in Bezdin that it was that the star the person owes money, but the receipt was in the third person's hand. And the third person said it was paid up, and Rav Nachman said, and the Rava said that we believe him. We believe the shalosh to say it was paid up.
Even though it was a stamp.
Even though Bezdin verified it. Yeah, it was a seal that he owed the money. And still we believe the shalosh to say it was paid up. There's a stira, Rav Nachman says, once Bezdin saw it before before she tore it or before she said it was paid up. Once Bezdin saw it, she cannot say it was paid up. Here also is a case; it was paid up. The Bezdin saw it before it was paid up, and the shalosh is saying it was paid up. And here we say we do believe him. So Zakasha. So the Gemara goes now back to the case of that Benegeya Raya Achrena. Raya Achrena means he brings a new raya. So what do we? When Avdini came to Babel, Rabbi Yochanan said, "La'oila maybe ra'oya v'seisa." the Baldin could always bring his raya and reappeal the din, even though Bezdin paskin. Ad sheyistatim tanoisav. Till if he mentioned openly that he doesn't have edim, he doesn't have a raya, and then he'll say afterwards, Kiva plenu plenu v'hiduni, then we won't believe him. You just said you don't have edim, you don't have a raya, and a second later, you're pulling out a star in your from your pocket, and you have 2 edim on the spot.
So he doesn't don't believe it.
So you don't believe him. In fact, you want to hakuf hakasha. This in itself is hakasha. Amrit, you just said, Achi statim tanoisav. Till he says that he doesn't have a edim, he doesn't have a raya, so then he's not believed. Asan, so comes l'shit Rabbanan. That's where the Rabbanan say that since they said we don't have an edim, we don't have a raya, he cannot bring any more edim or raya.
It's too late.
But it's too late. But Hada Amit, you made a condition. No, it's never too late. The only time it's going to be too late if Kiva is playing Veiduni. If a second later he says right away, first he says he doesn't have Edom, and a second later he has Edom. That's the only case we said he's not going to be believed. But what's if he didn't? Yivar to partake, and then he would have brought Edom, he would have been believed. Good kala yimach, yeah. So you see, Asam, later is Rabbi Shimon Gamil. So Al Mishnah follows Rabbi Shimon Gamil. The only case that we said it, and Rabbi Shimon Gamil also agrees. He says he doesn't have Edom. A second later he has Edom, or he says he doesn't have a shtar proof that he paid it up, or that that person owes him the money. And a second after he says he doesn't have a shtar, and they want to paskin against him, mitamal, he pulls out. Oh, wait a second, I have a shtar. A second later he has a shtar. So that's the only case we won't trust him, because he looks like a Goslin, because you just said you don't have it. You don't have any shtaris. A second later you're pulling out a shtar. Yeah, oh. That's the fact that you were good. So you said, no, yes, man, you said right. Amachta yes, from garnished. V'chitay mustaka garnished. It's above myself. That's the fact you matter v'chitay v'kula. If you can say the whole memory of Rabbi Yochanan is really Rabbi Shimon Gamil. Uparushi kamafarish. It's not a stira. He's saying, my achi statim tanoisov. That we won't. What statim tanoisov means. What does it mean if he says he doesn't have a raya? Or he says he doesn't have Edom? We won't allow him to come back and bring a raya or Edom to reappeal the case. The Pirush of when did I say he cannot reappeal it? Only if he brings a minute later after he said he has no Edom, he brings Edom. Or a second later after he says he doesn't have a shtar, he pulls out a shtar. But otherwise, we do trust him. He can bring a raya. Let's say people come later with and they say, we found your father's wallet with the stars. We're going to soon have that. Here. We said that the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon Gamil, where it says his name in the Mishnah, except for these 3 cases. So Rabbi Yochanan paskin befedish like the Chachamim. According to this, Raya Achreina, it's never the halacha like Rabbi Shimon Gamil. So we have to learn that we're learning according to the Chachamim. Because Rabbi Shimon Gamil, and this mission is not going according to Rabbi Shimon Gamil, because we don't pass like Rabbi Shimon Gamil by Raya Achreina. Ella sagt the Gemara a different nusach in the words of Rabbi Yochanan. He asked Rabbi Shmuel by Rabbi Yehuda, when Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda came, Rabbi Yochanan said, "La'olam maybe raya v'seisa." A person could always bring proof, even if the Bezdin Paskins. It's called the Raya Achreina. You'll hear this concept. If the Bezdin Paskins, you find a Raya, you could reappeal the case. I have a Raya Achreina. He says, you start him, the only time that he cannot bring proof if the Bezdin had Paskin is when he said, Befedish, when Bezdin asked him, you have Eidim? He says, no. They asked him, you have a Shtardai? He says, no. And now he wants to bring a Raya, then we don't allow it. Babo, Bo, Eidim, B'nidin Sayam. What's if Eidim came from overseas? Oishahi said the Sakya, they found a wallet, a leather wallet, Shalaviv of their father, of his father. In it were many studies. Mufkedes biyadache, it was in somebody else's hand. And the guy says, you know, I have your father's wallet here. And he pulls out the shtaris and he finds it. Harei maybe raya v'seisa. Such a case, there's a lot of bring a raya and reappeal the case because here he wasn't lying. He Taka didn't have a raya. He didn't have the Edom. He didn't know about it. They came from Medin Sayam. He didn't even know the father had a wallet with stars. He didn't even know that they were Edom from Medin Sayam. When Avdimi came to Babel, he said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, somebody who he wants his friend to come to a din Torah, because this guy is a shver mensch, and he wants to bring him to in front of a bezdin with chachamim and be mavayish him so he should pay. One of the Baldin say, I want to have the in this city. The Baldin Sheni says, no, let's go to where the great chachamim are. So we can force him to go to the place of the vad, because if it's loiva, evet loiva leishmalva, the malva can insist. Let's go to the base of vad, and he has to go. They said before Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi, mana, one who owes his friend 100 mana, yitzi mana, he should have to dish out another mana, so that he should al hamana on the money that he owes. The loiva now, the malva is forcing him to travel, so he should have to dish out another mana for the money that he owes. Rather, surely we don't say that. We force the Baldin Sheni in the same city. He cannot force him. Yeah. Itmanami, we also learn. Amar Rav Safra, Amar Rav Yechdan, Shnaim Shenis Atzmo. Two people who were big akshonim, badin. Akshonim. Echadayim Nodin Khan. One said, we're going to have the din over here. We force him and it has to be in the city. In the city they had local rabbanim, and if they had their shaila, they wouldn't travel there. They would ride their shaila, and then they had mail. And they would send it to the Makom Avad. And once the din Torah was finished, if he says kisu tnuli meiza tam dantuni, if he says mehichan dantuni, I want to know the marker for your psak, then kleisvim and then they talk after right. Where's the marker of the psak? Zog Yimara Rav Safra continues. La Yavama hilachas acha yodam. Yavama, if she wants to have a yibum, she wants or chlitza latida to be able to get married to somebody else, she has to go after the yavam. Says Yimara at Kama. How far does she have to go after the yavam? Afilu, if she was mitferia, she has to go litziperi. And even though tziperi they didn't have as great as Talmid Chacham as Tveria, but if the yavam is in tziperi, she has to follow it. What's the pasuk that teaches us this din? It says v'karu loy zikne irei v'loy zikne iro. It says zikne iroi. You have to follow the Torah. Warrants the Yavama, forces the Yavama to go after the makom of the Yavam for chalitza. Abba meima hilchas halachis kayfen noisei. We force the Baldin who wants the din Torah in the city, but yelach l'makom avad, and he has to go to the makom avad. So Ravashi is Amalei Ravash maybe Omar Rablaza kayfen noisei v'dam beirei. We said you can only force him only if it's here in the city, in the same town. He can only force him in this town. That's only if the Leva is insisting on the Malva that the Malva should come to the Beis Havad, and the Malva wants it up in the city, so then it's done in the city. But if the Malva wants it to the Makom Havad with the Talmid Chachamar, then we say Evet Leva Lishmalva. Then the Leva has to follow the Malva to go to the Makom Havad. Shalach lei lemar ukva. They sent to the Bezna sent in Tveria to Mar Ukva. L'dziz lei kvar bisya. He had a shine on him like the son of Bisya. Bisya was the Bas Pare, who she mothered Moshe Rabbeinu. So he had the shine like Moshe Rabbeinu. Shlom ukvan hababli kavel kadamana. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop here. Shochlei. So the Bezdin of Tver that was in Tveria sent Lamar Ukva Ledizizle Kvar Bisya Kibar Bisya, to whom his face shined like the son of Bisya, the daughter of Pare, who took care of Moshe Rabbeinu. So Moshe Rabbeinu was considered the son. So Mar Ukva's shine was like Moshe Rabbeinu's shine, where it says Vakaran Oiponav. Or a second shot is that Basya doesn't mean Basya, it means Beisei. Like Moshe was a Ben Beisei of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like it says B'chol Beisei Neman. Others say Mar Ukva was Baal Tshuva, and the oil on his head shined because of once he saw a married woman, and he fell ill. He wanted her very badly. Later on, this woman needed a hava, and she was already ready to live with him for this, and he held himself back, and because of that, he was healed. And from then on, when he would go out in the shuk, a name of Shemaim would be lit on his head. Zaki Mara Shlam Ukvan Hababli Kaval Kadmana. The Ukvan Hababli, the Shlam, Ukva Hababli. So it says Ukva Hababli Kaval Kadmana. Ukva Hababli came complaining before them. He made me lose the death of the yard, meaning that he was castrated by Yirmiyah. And they said to Yirmiyah, Yirmiyah was found by you in Babel, to be Matthias, work it out with Ukvan, his brother. In addition, Hasiyu Beyiru Panei B'Tveria, force him to come to us in Tveria in order that we should deal with him over here. In fact, this story contradicts itself. Amnit, you said at the beginning, Imiloi, go and tell Yimit to work it out with his brother. Almost as mashmat that you're saying to Mar Ukva, Dainu al Atun, that you should judge this din in Babel. And then afterwards you said, Hasiyu b'yir panei b'Tveria. You said, oh no, bring him, and his face should be brought in front of us in Tveria. Alma, it's mashma that your kavanah was shadru hacha, that he should be sent here to Tveria to be judged in front of us. And this was their kavanah. Imulei, say to Yirmiyah, he should be mispious with his brother, meaning Dainu Atun, you deal with him here in Bavel. Eat sayis. If he listens to your words, is good. And if he doesn't, force him to come here to be judged in Tveria. Rav Ashi said the vikoch between them was beneged to dinik knosses, and on dinik knosses you need dayanon smuchim. And in Babel they didn't deal with dinik knosses because they didn't have smicha in Babel. And therefore, Be'emes Mar Ukva wasn't able to judge this case in Babel about Dinei Knossos. So the Kavanah was that he should send him to Tveria to be judged in front of the Dayanim who have Smicha in Eretz Yisrael. And this that they send him in this Nusach, as if that the Babel should deal with it, was only K'dei Lach L'Kavod L'Mar Ukva, only to give cover to Mar Ukva. We shall return to you, Perik Zeber.